Seomra Beag.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sure Look, Sure Listen, the podcast that takes a pop at culture.
Sure look, sure listen. Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen. Sure look at Ben. This week we have had a new trailer for Dune, which I pronounce as June, and we won't be having it any other way. We've also, Ben, seen and watched and partaken in the social and political tinderbox that is the new Masters of the Universe Revelations. And, Ben, we've seen a few other things, but that's all I can remember at the moment.
Sure, listen, Michael, if that wasn't enough for you, have you ever been watching a Marvel film and gotten a distinct taste of boot polish in your mouth? Maybe like someone was licking some boots, maybe?
Oh, I don't usually do those things at the same time, Ben.
Don't usually do that. Well, Michael, you and a few other people don't usually do that at the same time. But sure, listen, we're going to be taking a look at whether Marvel films in the MCU are military propaganda, Michael.
Oh, Benjamin.
Yeah.
Just be quiet for a moment. We've seen the trailer for Dune.
Yes.
And it looks like it's going to be the film of the book Dune.
What gave that away, Michael?
I don't know what else there is to say about it other than it looks like it's going to be based on the book Dune, which I have read multiple times and seen many adaptations of.
It looks like a fairly true to form adaptation, Michael.
It does. It does look quite. It's interesting that it would appear that their biggest star is Zendaya, the actress Zendaya.
Which I don't know if that's true, Michael. Timothée Chalamet, he's big.
Timothée Chalamet is quite small actually as a man, but quite big as a star.
Yes, he's got that star power, Michael.
But the character that Zendaya plays, Ben, both in the book and in the original, the David Lynch version of Dune, not a huge character. And I've read rumblings from Zendaya herself that she filmed for like 2 or 3 days.
That wouldn't shock me. She's in the book, Michael. Unfortunately, she kind of falls under the classic damsel motivation kind of thing for the hero. There's no real gumption to her. She gets one interesting scene where she's a big tough brawler in the book, Michael, but it's at the behest of Paul.
The thing is, the book isn't about characters. Let's be honest.
No, it's about world building, Michael.
It's about concepts. Yeah, it's about concepts and cultures and not characters. So
no.
I mean, Paul, the ostensive, you know what I'm trying to say, Ben? The lead.
Yeah, Paul the optometrist.
The optometrist, yeah. Paul, he's barely a character either. Let's be honest.
He isn't. He's a conduit. He's a conduit for concepts.
Yeah, everyone's just concepts. Everyone's just concepts in human form. Everyone's excited about Gurney Halleck, for example.
Do you know why? I think Gurney Halleck is the character with the most personality in the book. I think we get the best sense of who Gurney Halleck is. He at least has a decent amount of motivation outside of some kind of monarchist wet dream where you're like, oh, I serve House Atreides. And Gurney Halleck is like, no, I just don't like Harkins, and I'm gonna fuck him up.
He's kind of the Michael Collins of the book Dune.
He is. Yeah. He's just a scrappy Michael Collins who plays a banjo.
Benjamin, it looks good though. It does look good. I mean, everything that Denis Villeneuve has ever touched has looked incredible and being a bit boring and intellectual.
Yes, Denis Villeneuve makes a good film, Michael.
He makes very good films, Ben. I don't think Denis Villeneuve has ever made a bad film, Ben, but you could argue that he doesn't make a terribly exciting and fast-paced film.
He doesn't make... It's funny, he's given blockbuster budget, and he usually fails to deliver that blockbuster vibe because he's more focused on... Yes, but what if it was a good film?
What if I am from Canada. My name is Denis Villeneuve. What if I made it a good film?
You went strangely Nigerian.
That's my Canadian accent. That's how I believe Canadians speak. What if I made it a good film? I am from Quebec.
You sound like you're from Captain Phillips, where you're telling Tom Hanks who's in charge now. But anyway,
I don't know, man. I don't know if that reflects well on you or Captain Phillips himself.
I don't know if it reflects well on anybody, to be honest, Michael. That's really the nature of this podcast at this point, Michael. I'm not sure it reflects well on anybody.
Doesn't reflect well on anyone, exactly.
Look, it's got. I have a few notes here, Michael, and you can see them there on the board. I think it has the scale, Michael, of an old kind of Hollywood film. Your bloody Cleopatras, your bloody Ben-Hurs. Now, obviously, that's a lot easier to achieve today, with the old computer generated imagery.
Yes.
But it seems to be going for. I feel like it's going to be a long one, Michael. I feel like it's a strap-in film.
It's going to be a classic Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah. And I think we're going to be treated to many long stares over muted landscapes.
Desert landscapes, yep.
The fight scenes look damn good, though.
I don't know what exactly is going on. It looks like they're hologram fighting. I think they're taking the shield technology.
The vibro shields.
They're taking it a different way to, what's his face, David Lynch did.
Yeah, so what happened in the Lynch films? Because I've never seen the David Lynch ones.
In the Lynch ones, Ben, if you remember the book, they have the weirding way, which is a kind of martial art, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they kind of feel out their opponent's moves, and they're like, "Hey, baby, show me your weak point."
And he decided that instead that would become an arm-mounted blaster of some sort.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and it was very odd. And the whole point in the book about the shields is they stop high-velocity impacts. But if you were to use, let's say, a high-powered laser to shoot someone with that shield, it might just not go through, or it might explode and kill you both with the force of a nuclear detonation.
Yeah, so it's mutually assured destruction, probably brought on by Frank Herbert's anxiety around bloody the looming nuclear war.
Exactly. So instead, everyone fights each other with knives slowly.
Give it a little
exactly
West Side Story style.
It looks like they've gone back towards that again. One of the big issues in futuristic science fiction is always trying to contrive reasons for people to sword fight.
Yeah,
you just have to do it. You have to do it. And it's funny because we never really need a contrivance to have 1940 style aerial dogfights in space in sci-fi. Everyone just kind of accepts that. But you have to come up with some sort of compelling reason why people will be having sword fights if there's a laser that can shoot you from space instead.
I think one of the great tragedies of sci-fi prediction back in the day is they didn't really do a lot of work with drones. And if you were to have space fights, dogfights, as you said, probably just be a bunch of drones. There'd be fleets of drones having a go at each other. Because you wouldn't need a skilled pilot in the vacuum of space.
Stargate did that quite a lot.
Did they?
They did indeed, yes.
Did they now?
Yeah.
Well, tickle me pink and call me Barney. I
won't, Benjamin. I won't. We'll keep our relationship purely platonic.
Purely platonic. Good. Look, I'm going to watch it, Michael. I'm going to go see it. Cinemas might be open again by the time we get to go see it.
Cinemas are open now, Ben, because we're going to have to face this decision down next week when The Suicide Squad comes out.
Oh, yeah.
The Suicide Squad is out next week, Ben.
I'm partially vaccinated now, Michael, so I feel
very exciting.
It is very exciting.
Very exciting. I have to say, though, one of the things that I'm most excited about the Suicide Squad, and I'm really honestly starting to believe that directors have more influence over this than we think they do.
Okay.
Is we know nothing about what's going on in the Suicide Squad.
That's the best part, Michael, because I think we've a fairly great idea.
About what's going on? What's going on, Ben? Is there Starro? Is Starro the main villain, and they're going to face him down, or is Starro a joke villain from the start, from the first 10 minutes?
Because
could
be
they're going to defeat him and get on with things, or is that scene with Harley Quinn where they go rescue Harley? Is that just going to be the introduction to the character, or is that going to be the main plot? And I talk about this nearly any time, Ben, I get a chance. What that reminds me of is Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where we knew Ego was going to be in it, and we knew broadly that Mantis was going to be there, and we knew which new characters were going to be there, but we had no idea where it was going.
No, we didn't.
Not the slightest hint. And that seems to be true also of whatever Suicide Squad is called now. The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad.
And I think Jamie G might have a bit more influence over it than we've been led to believe directors do.
I feel like Jamie G walks into rooms and he's like, "Look, guys, you either want me to make this or you don't.
Yeah. Or I'm out.
Give me the advertising rights or get fucked." And I don't think DC has a very strong bargaining position anymore. They're like, do we want a good film from a tried and tested guy who knows what he's doing?
Save us, James Gunn.
We just get Zack back in.
No.
Like, I find it so interesting. Like, there was a little bit this week, Michael, about Black Adam and The Rock. And I think The Rock has come out and said, this is going to set a whole new direction for the DC cinematic universe. And I was like, they don't have a DC cinematic universe. What do you mean a whole new direction? They need a direction. I just.
Maybe they mean, Ben, maybe by a whole new direction, what they mean is literally any direction.
Literally any direction other than down. I think, unfortunately, Shazam is going to get a good old dose of seriousness injected into it. It looks that way from the new costume designs to the fact that Black Adam is involved. Are they just going to make it all dark and serious again, Michael?
Dark and serious is the way to go, Benjamin.
No, it's not. Michael, speaking of things that have gotten dark and serious.
Oh, very clever.
You and I have been watching some television.
We have indeed, Benjamin. Well, this is the thing, right, Ben? All sources point to the fact that Masters of the Universe Revelations is out on Netflix now.
Yes, I only found it through the sheer stroke of luck of actually going into Netflix, and then it came up as, I was like, oh, that's out.
It didn't, Benjamin, it didn't even show up in my Netflix. I still can't guarantee you that it's released, that it's out in Netflix in Ireland and the UK. I think it might not be.
Oh, it's definitely out in the UK.
Is it?
Yes.
Are you sure? Are you
Yes.
sure you haven't used a VPN or a proxy to access Netflix USA or something like that?
No, definitely out in the UK. Don't know about Ireland.
It does. It's not on my Netflix, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Ben, I have had to.
I'm saying.
I have had to use a VPN or proxy to pretend that I'm in another country to watch it, and it's very confusing because everything on the internet says it was out on Friday, but I couldn't watch it.
That's also happened with Gunpowder Milkshake, Michael, which I didn't realise. Gunpowder Milkshake is released in the UK as well, but I'm not certain it's on Irish Netflix.
Gunpowder Milkshake is very much not on Irish Netflix.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on, Benjamin. Having said that, though, Ben, I did watch Gunpowder Netflix the other day, and I have to say I was not as impressed by it as you were.
Ah,
I wasn't a huge fan of Gunpowder Milkshake. I thought I actually thought it was quite weak, to be honest. I thought it was. I thought it was. It was all over the place tonally. It was very slow.
It is very slow.
Very, very slow. And I thought the fight scenes were pretty poorly choreographed. And Karen Gillan just didn't convince me in that role. It was all gangly Gillan, unfortunately. A lot of the time it looked like she was really struggling to do it. And then it became really apparent when they had Michelle Yeoh fighting. It was like,
who's an old
she
pro.
knows how to do it. Yeah. She knows what's going on. Anyway, we're not here to talk about bloody Gunpowder Milkshake. We're talking about Lena Headey being in everything.
Lena Headey is in everything.
She's in everything, Ben.
Everything. Her and Kit Harington, two people who survived Game of Thrones and nobody else. Although Liam Cunningham's
doing all right as well. So's old Emily Clark. She's doing fine. There's lots of rumours of Emily Clark replacing Amber Heard in Aquaman. What's going on?
I'd watch that.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I'd watch that replacement.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely
You're
fine.
arguably also getting a better actor. Even from taking the behind the scenes stuff away from it, you're arguably recasting Amber Heard means you get a better performance.
I don't know if Emily Clark has ever been accused of hitting Johnny Depp.
Look, there's time yet.
There's plenty of time.
there's time yet.
Benjamin, let's talk about Masters of the Universe. What are we doing?
Right. Well, do you want to start with a good old? Well, let's give you the premise. The premise is Masters of the Universe Revelations Part 1. Now, this is a 6-episode. A 5-episode block that's been released now, and we're going to get part 2 in a couple of weeks.
In a couple of weeks, in a couple of months, I don't know.
Couple of months.
When's Ireland going to get it? I don't know, Ben.
Probably not. It's probably not going to get it. Sure, we'll take a little jaunt up to Northern Ireland, and we'll
very good.
Watch it up there in a pub on our phones.
In a pub with our vaccination passports.
Very good. So the premise is very, very simple, Michael. What if the original series of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe continued? That's the bones of the premise. Except then, what if you got an edgy director from the 90s to give it a little tweak and a little growing up? Perhaps your characters would say something incredibly anachronistic, like "Oh bollocks,"
That was very strange.
Or "No glove, no love."
Very strange indeed, Ben. Very strange anachronisms.
Indeed.
Yeah, I don't know if anachronisms is right though, because I think He-Man is set now.
Just in Eternium.
Yeah, it's not anachronistic. It's just odd.
It's just
an odd thing to say.
Just weird tones.
Let's take that. Let's run with that, Ben.
Yeah.
Because first of all, who is this for?
I don't know.
Who is this for?
I don't know
who this is for. I don't know who it's for, because it's 22-minute episodes. It's like Saturday morning cartoon length.
Yes.
It features heavily the character designs and backstory of the 1980s cartoon.
Yeah, so we get loads of these kind of things. We have Scareglow, we have Mossman, we have Merman.
Everyone's there.
Everyone's there. Beast, what's his name again?
Man.
Beast.
Man.
Okay.
If you're even doubt, just say man.
Just even doubt. Triclops is there, who isn't
Triclops,
I-Man for some reason.
Triclops man.
Bloody... but they're all there, and they all use their dorky powers in the same way.
Yeah. So they're all there, right? So it's got all of your characters, but it is also still a 22-minute cartoon. It took me back initially to the 2002 reboot of Masters of the Universe, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And I was like, okay, I see what we're doing here. We're doing a soft reboot. Rather than a complete reboot as last time, we're doing a soft reboot. And it's aimed at both kids and people nostalgic for the original.
But then, Michael...
that
tone shifts radically, and no child should watch this.
Everyone starts saying shit. Everyone starts saying bollocks. Everyone starts killing each other.
What is that about?
But it's also not... It's not invincible. It's not a grim and gritty reimagining either.
Then you get the flashbacks, Michael, and it's the original Mattel show.
Yeah, kind of.
Like we get a Merman throwback.
The biggest disappointment about Merman, Ben, was that you don't speak like this.
Yeah, they got Kevin Conroy, the man with the best enunciation in all voice.
They got Batman to be Merman, and he should have been like, "I'm going to throw you under the sea."
So that was disappointing.
Fair
Michael,
enough.
let's do full spoilers here.
So, yes, full spoilers. Yeah, you ready?
If you don't want spoilers, go make a cup of tea on your broiler. There you go. That's today's...
A broiler is what Americans call a grill, Ben. You wouldn't make a cup of tea on a grill. That would be insanity.
Yeah, you also wouldn't listen to this podcast, so I think we're fine.
Yeah, that would also be insanity. Benjamin.
Yeah, go on.
So, wait, we're going back to who is this for, right? Yeah. So, it's not like the 2002 reboot, which was for kids and adults with a bit of nostalgia.
Yep.
This one is very much not for kids, because everyone keeps dying, and everyone's saying shit and bollocks.
Yep.
But it's also not really for nostalgic He-Man fans.
No, it gives you a big middle finger.
Straight away, it's like, well, that He-Man guy, he's a fucking gobshite. Let's get rid of him.
That was that happens repeatedly.
It's incredible.
So I suppose the big thing is that we saw 90% of the trailers that we've seen, Michael, are made from episode 1.
From the first 20 minutes of episode 1.
From the first 20 minutes of episode 1, because what we get, Michael, is the death of He-Man and Skeletor.
I believe it's pronounced Skellingthor.
Oh, Skellingthor, sorry. Apologies to anybody out there of a Scandinavian background. Skellingthor, yeah. So that's a very interesting choice, first of all, Michael. The cojones that takes to take the two characters that are all of the memes, all of the nostalgia, arguably, like, they're just the yin and yang of the show, and just be like, nah, go make it about Tila.
Gonna make it about Tila because she's a strong female lead.
And Benjamin. No, but see, this is the danger, right? This is the danger, and we always come back to this.
What's the danger?
This is nothing to do. I don't actually mind this show. Okay,
Right.
I don't think this is the worst thing ever created.
Right.
But I don't see why it has to be He-Man.
Ben, welcome to your middle ages. I've been racking my brains thinking about this show all fucking weekend because I mean, the art style is great. The characters
it's really, really good. The magic is cool.
The magic is cool.
The different characters getting their abilities is cool.
Yeah, I even like the kind of
cool.
concept. I like the concept of what is the world of Eternia without Superman, I nearly said. Without He-Man and without magic and what's going on there. But
it's a bit shite.
It's a bit shite, yeah. So you don't want to be there. Everyone's got into mad cults. But the choice of making it the Tila show and people only really getting wind of that on the very last trailer and going, wait a minute, I think we've been hoodwinked here. And it's really pissed people off. It's quite funny how pissed off people are about this.
It has. There's a lot of aggression. So Kevin Smith has been staunch. By the way, this is, to answer your earlier question, Michael, this is for Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith wanted to make this, and he just said, I'm going to do it for me. I'm not going to do it for anybody else. And screw him. He's made a statement on this, Michael. Would you like me to read the statement?
Go on, read the statement. I'll read the other statement from his previous tweet last year where he said, I've read all of the scripts and He-Man is very much our main character. Is that the tweet you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about his latest thing because he's very annoyed at the response to removing He-Man from his own show.
Ben, it's not called He-Man. It's called Masters of the Universe.
It's called Masters of the Universe. Yeah. But if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, Michael. Anyway, here's the statement, right? Yeah. And this is ballsy again, right? He says, it's been interesting seeing who truly is a hardcore fan.
Right.
Because anybody that's like, oh man, that's not enough He-Man or something like that, he doesn't understand the show that we based it on. There were episodes where he lost his sword and he never became He-Man. It wasn't like He-Man always saved the day. His friends helped him, and that was the fucking point of the show. I see people online go, hey man, they're getting rid of He-Man. Like, you really fucking think Mattel Television, who hired me and paid me money, wants to do fucking Masters of the Universe show without He-Man? He continued in a harsher manner, grow the fuck up, man. Like, that blew my mind. A bunch of people being like, oh, I smell it. This is the bait and switch. So, Michael, this is such an aggressive stance for him to take.
Kevin Smith is he's a weird dude. He's always been a weird dude. He likes courting controversy. It's funny,
but like, that's a middle finger to people. Like, that's not courting controversy. That's like, fuck you, watch my show or get the fuck out.
Yeah, and
weird.
Let him. That's his prerogative. If that's how he decides to promote his show, that's how he can promote his show. Let's look at it from the perspective of the art rather than the artist, because I honestly don't really care what Kevin Smith has to say about it. And it also doesn't bother. I was not the biggest He-Man fan growing up, Ben, anyway.
Neither was I. I have no.
You're probably too young.
I have no childhood attachment.
I have somewhat of a childhood attachment to He-Man, but the fact that He-Man is written out of this isn't my major issue with it. My major issue with it is Tila is the worst character ever written on television.
She's bizarre.
And it all comes down to, basically, she has a strop that she has been lied to, and that makes her the hero, basically. And
some of the jumps in logic, Michael, in this show are astounding. Well, I mean, Tila being the initial one, where it's like, oh, Adam didn't tell me he was He-Man, so all my friends hate me, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Also, that mother and father over there, their son just died, and you're making it all about you.
You're making it all about you. And then, like, your adopted father, Man-at-Arms, has just been threatened with exile and execution.
Yeah.
Like,
but you're making it all about you because nobody told you. You big selfish child. My biggest issue with her, Ben, is the scene in hell in Subternia, where we find out that her only fear and her only weakness is that she's afraid of her own unlimited potential.
Yeah, she's special.
Oh my God, I can't abide
That
by
was
this.
such a strange writing choice. Oh, I see. You're truly afraid of being special.
You're so special, and that's the only thing that you fear, is you can't accept your own specialness. Oh my God,
What in God's
who is
name?
this for? Who is it for?
It's just bad writing.
I just don't know who it's for. It's getting good reviews, Ben, from modern websites, basically, who are happy with having a strong female lead.
But there's nothing wrong with the strong female lead angle, but you could have made this even better with Evil Lynn. She's an interesting character, sort of. Like, again, she's a bit on the nose. But she's a fuck ton better than bloody Tila. Her motivation is, oh yeah, well you see, I dedicated myself to a man who's a bit of a twat, bit of a twat, and now I've found myself in a world without that twat, and I've had to reforge my identity. And like that's a lot more interesting than, oh, Adam lied to me, boo.
Oh, boo. Also, I'm a lesbian now,
Boo.
in case you haven't noticed.
In case you haven't bloody noticed.
But that's also
look
weird,
at my,
Ben. That's also weird.
Look at my pixie cut.
Yeah, look at my side shave and my friend, my female friend. It's like the old website, the old website, Ben, Sappho and her friend. Ben, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. If they're lesbians, just be lesbians. The whole
what's the harm in
the
that?
whole not being open about it is like it's written for kids, and it's like an undercurrent that only adults will notice. But then everyone's saying bollocks and killing each other. Like, who is this for? I don't know who it's for, Ben.
That oh bollocks was the strangest moment. I was just like, it took me completely out of it. I was like, what?
So weird.
What do you mean? Orko dies?
Orko dies, yeah. Everyone dies. Everyone.
No need.
All your favourite characters die, man. Mossman.
I was
character, Mossman.
Oh, Mossman gets an L torching at the beginning. But there are other gaps in logic as well, Michael. For example, when Skeletor comes back out of Evil Lynn's staff or whatever it is,
he's like,
everybody stands around watching him.
I know, but that happens. That happens 2 or 3 times. I can forgive that, to be honest, because that's just Saturday morning cartoon logic, where everyone's just standing around and letting Skeletor pontificate instead of giving him a big old punch.
Just give him a smack.
Give him a big old punch in the head.
Mark Hamill's having a great time, at least.
I felt bad for Alan Oppenheimer.
Who's that now?
Alan Oppenheimer
the original.
is the original Skeletor, who is in this as the voice of Mossman. He got Frank Welkert.
Oh,
yeah, imagine.
That is sad.
Imagine. The iconic voice of Skeletor gets replaced by Mark Hamill doing the Joker.
Yeah, give or take an octave. Yeah. Like I think what really annoys me, Michael, we've attempted to write our own version of this a couple of times on this podcast, and we probably should do a revisit of that, Michael, in
yes, that would be amazing.
In a shortened version. But there are some really great grains of an interesting story.
Go on.
Like Man at
Arms
is Man at Arms is a particularly interesting character in it. He's a grizzled old veteran. I'd watch the shit out of a show between him reconnecting with his daughter in a weird dystopian Eternia. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I'd watch the heck out of that. Finding companions along the way, trying to reconcile, the fact that he dedicated his life to a shitty monarchy. He threw him away the second they were emotionally inconvenienced. Like, it's very interesting. 10 out of 10 would watch again. Liam Cunningham, arguably one of the better voice actors on the entire thing, with a bit of depth, presence, and persona.
I felt, to be honest, that the voice acting was a little bit weak overall. I'm of the feeling that get voice actors, not celebrities.
He-Man is very poor. Prince Adam and He-Man is very poor.
You see, I can actually take He-Man. I think He-Man's one of the stronger ones because he's very much doing He-Man. And the weird stiltedness is how He-Man talked.
Okay,
whereas
so that's fair enough.
Lena Headey's not doing any sort of Evil Lynn. She's just doing Cersei.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Liam Cunningham is not doing any sort of Man at Arms. He's just doing Sir Davos.
Fair.
And I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar is just doing Buffy. A lot of the
Sarah Michelle Gellar is
poorly cast.
a lot of the quips and jabs coming out of Tila are Buffy. She's just, especially the episode where they break into the cult headquarters and they have a showdown.
Yeah.
And it's Buffy having a showdown with any cult leader.
Yeah.
So
That's exactly what it is.
I wasn't a huge fan of the celebrity casting, to be honest. I would have, and I mean, I could not hear Mark Hamill being the Joker.
Yeah, it's just Mark Hamill.
Being the Joker.
Yeah, in the Joker. Michael, where do you think it's going to go for part 2? Because I suppose the greatest insult to this, Michael, and feel free to stop me
I will.
if you fancy.
Yeah.
But the greatest insult to this is we're giving Prince Adam back.
Then he gets snapped.
Then he gets snapped again in 2 seconds. And I don't understand why they did that.
Oh, it's so funny. First of all, I disagree, Ben, with your use of the term insult, because I'm not really a believer in, if you don't like or don't agree with the way a particular writer or artist has taken a piece of art, that is an insult to the existing fans. I don't subscribe to that theory myself. As you know, Ben, one of my favorite characters is Thor, and if someone decides to write Thor and make him, I don't know, what would I find insulting? Makes him
A lady.
No, I'm actually quite looking forward to Natalie Portman as Lady Thor. I think that's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But if they decided to make Thor a child murderer, and I would go, "Ooh, yeah, don't like that." But
Love that.
Don't like it. Don't want to read it. Have no interest in hearing about it. But it's not an insult to either me or the character.
I think, sorry, I probably chose my words poorly. I think it's an insult to the people watching the show. In that it's like, like, it's just like up and down.
Yeah,
It's like,
again, I mean, I get your point. I do understand. And I understand that writers can insult their viewers' intelligence in certain ways, or insult their... But
Several ways.
Several
in this
ways. But
case.
I don't really agree with the concept that...
Okay.
That I'm not saying it's good writing. I don't like it, but I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not insulted by it, and I don't really subscribe to the whole concept of it's an insult. But I don't like it. But I am going to watch every episode of it, because
Yeah. Well, I've seen the first 6 myself, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to watch the second 6 now and see if they can pull this out of the bag.
fine. But yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see if they can pull it out of the bag. I don't think so.
I don't think they can.
No, I don't think so. And it's bizarre to look at the audience score and the
So what's
critic
that like?
score. The critic score is like flawless, 98%.
How?
Because it is critics generally, currently, critics of pop culture are generally under 40, I would say.
Okay.
They're probably mostly your age.
Okay.
And they're excited to see change. And
Okay.
whether or not they have any investment in the original, I think, I don't know why we're criticizing critics now in this pop culture podcast, but whether or not they have any investment,
I'm just curious.
whether or not, this is only my opinion, but whether or not they have any investment in the original is fairly irrelevant. What they like to see is, oh, they've taken the original and mixed it up. Isn't that exciting? Whereas
Not necessarily.
Well, I don't know, because you see, if you had no interest in the world of Eternia before now, and you only went in and only saw this, you might like it. It's been compared to, I thought it was very interestingly compared to The Last Jedi. It is kind of The Last Jedi of He-Man, where they've killed off all of the existing characters, and they've established a new, flawless female hero as the lead.
Yeah, she hasn't faltered once.
Ben,
she hasn't had a single fumble.
Ben, her only
in 5 episodes.
Her only flaw is her fear of how powerful she is. Now, I have a certain amount of lingering trust that Kevin Smith might have an interesting twist on the way for us. And not that she's going to turn out to be an incompetent gobshite or anything like that, but that there might be... I mean, obviously, the twist they're leading us up towards is that she's the sorceress's daughter.
Yeah, so I think we got quite a bit of that.
But, I would be surprised at this stage if it were that obvious in the end. It might be something different. But because
Skeletor's daughter.
Possibly.
She's
just go
she's
full...
Tila Skeletor.
Tila ni Skeletor. Oh, she's Irish
then
as well.
And then at the end, she's going to stand just outside Castle Grayskull, and an old woman will come up and say, "What's your name?"
Yeah.
And she'll say, "Oh, I'm Tila Grayskull."
Wouldn't surprise me, then. Wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, fuck it. Look, yeah, it's we're kind of just having a whinge here, and I didn't hate it that much
That's
either.
what we do every week.
I know, but I didn't hate it that much either. Like, I did watch every episode and thought it was quite good. But
it is quite enjoyable.
It's
just
I'm enjoying it when I'm watching it, and then afterwards I'm going back and thinking about it and going, "Oh, that's so dumb. That is so dumb and so annoying."
Fucking dumb. See, I found myself doing that while I was watching. I was like, "That's so fucking dumb." But sure, look, it's grand.
Sherlock.
And it's interesting. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you thought.
Yeah, or
of that
don't.
bloody show.
You know, if we don't want to, if we don't want an
don't.
absolute shitstorm. So
Yeah, don't brigade us. Actually, we're grand. Never mind. I take that back. Speaking of brigades, Michael.
Oh, very good, yeah.
How do you feel about the military?
Oh, I'm not a big fan, to be honest, Ben.
Yeah, not great.
No.
Do you know who is a fan?
The military-industrial complex, Ben.
Yeah, in the MCU.
Oh, interesting take.
So yeah, look, this week's topic, Michael, is born of
Reddit,
my binge on a side of TikTok. That is vehemently against the strange pro-military, pro-United States agenda of the MCU.
All right, Benjamin, you are going to have to, first of all, explain to me exactly what you mean by TikTok.
So TikTok, Michael, is a Chinese app that used to be called Musical.ly. And on that app, Michael, you could lip sync along to songs.
Oh, very good.
And it gained a wild amount of popularity in the beginning, Michael, because people like to sing and dance around like a bunch of buffoons. But then, Michael, they upgraded it.
Yeah.
And now you can talk about anything you like, Michael, but still a lot of lip syncing to songs.
Benjamin, do they have Wayward Son? By
They
Kansas?
probably do, Michael.
Okay, we should
probably do. We should definitely do one at some point.
We'll do a TikTok.
But anyway, on that, it's a really interesting way of gathering very diverse opinions in mini snippets. And one of the ones that got a really strong response, Michael, was the recent Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I've seen it.
Or the Falcon. Is it the Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yes.
Or Falcon?
Two those.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Just call it Falcon and Winter Soldier. Why would you?
Because they're the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's not a Falcon
Yeah, but you're not
and
gonna-
a Winter Soldier.
Yeah, but you were never going to change it to the Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
The Captain America.
They're not going to do that.
Yes, they are. That's what season 2 is called.
They didn't do it.
The Captain of America and
It's
the
a stupid conceit, and I'm
Soldier
never
of
forgiven
Winter.
the Soldier of Winter. Anyway, sorry.
What are you doing? What are you talking about?
What they took a look at, Michael, and what they took particular issue with is the way the military constantly facilitates Sam's missions.
Right.
No ifs, no buts. He's there. He has his ground support. And at least in the beginning, Michael, U.S. agent John Walker sparked huge controversy in the black community in the United States, in former veterans of the military in the United States. And the reason for that, Michael, is that people didn't understand who the character was.
Okay.
A lot of people thought that they were supposed to root for the new Captain America.
Well, Ben, that's because they're idiots.
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
but no, hold on. I'm not having this. That is because they're idiots. If you make a snap judgment, and this can be very much said for what we've just been discussing about He-Man, which is why we need to wait until the full 10 episodes are out before we really can judge it. But if you are making your value judgments on a character based on their introduction, that's called storytelling.
Yes.
So, anyway, go on. But, go on. But for the rest of this episode, you have to refer to people who've made a snap judgment based on an introductory episode. You have to refer to them as these dummies.
All right, fair enough. So these dummies took great issue with Captain America and said, no, he's John Walker, and said, no, he's forceful. And for people who are familiar with the comics, they were sitting there going, he's not going to last as Captain. This is not the story being told here, guys. This is not the new Captain America. And then I suppose some of them felt vindicated by the ending of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and spoilers for a series that came out a couple of months ago. But John Walker kind of gets a mini redemption arc.
He gets a little redemption. Yeah, I was surprised by that, to be honest. I was surprised that he got a bit of a redemption.
To which people went, that's not earned.
Mm.
That man is an overzealous paragon of American exceptionalism.
Right.
But
also to his credit, in that whole series, I think he killed one person.
Yeah, one dude.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy-handedly.
Pretty heavy-handedly he killed one person. Sam and Bucky killed a lot more.
Oh yeah, they love it, but they do it quietly. So
They're
nobody gets
great
upset.
fans of killing people.
Yeah, just drop them out. Just send a missile from your jetpack to the helicopter.
As is Steve Rogers.
Yeah, as is Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers
Get
will
the
kick a
job
man
done,
off a
lads.
boat 100 feet into frigid water.
He's not getting out of that.
Look at now, he's dead, Ben. His back is
He's
broken
dead.
and he's in the frigid water. And I don't care
He's in
what
the
you've heard.
frigid water.
I'm not a frigid. What?
You...
What are we talking about?
Leonard's a frigid.
I'm not a frigid. I've kissed loads of girls. What are we talking about?
So anyway, this sparked off a whole debate.
Yeah.
And that brought up a very old debate on the origins of the MCU. Because when this was looked into, Michael, it turns out that a lot of the funding for the initial 2 Iron Man films, and the Incredible Hulk, that very early Marvel phase,
Paramount
was
phase.
all provided by the US military.
I thought the funding was provided by Marvel Studios.
No, because Marvel Studios
Didn't
wasn't
exist,
the Titan
yeah.
that we know today, Michael.
Also didn't exist.
Also didn't exist. And that's one of the interesting things that we ran into, Michael, is that where did they get their funding? And we've talked about this before on the podcast, Michael. We did a little, we took a little look at US government funding of films that portrayed either people from the Middle East or Russian people as terrible people.
Yeah.
And we've looked at that before. So a lot of that funding, Michael, comes in from there.
We've also been looked at Chinese funding of films where the Chinese are a grand bunch of lads.
A grand bunch of lads.
Yeah.
If the Chinese would like to sponsor this podcast, do give us a call. Get up on the Discord.
Ben will drink any sort of milk.
Any sort.
Live
Blue
on
milk,
camera.
regular milk, shark milk,
Sharks are not mammals, Ben. They don't produce milk.
not shark milk, any kind of milk, really. So, this brought up a very old debate of, where does the money come from in Marvel films? And very subtly, over the last couple of years, the tone of the United States political debate and Marvel films has diverged significantly.
Go on.
So, when we are looking at the initial, Iron Man films, the government is not portrayed in a particularly great light.
No,
Because
negative.
they want Tony Stark to hand over his weapons,
And he's like, I won't.
but the military, Michael, is portrayed in a very favorable light.
Go on.
That initial Iron Man origin story paints the soldiers that Tony Stark is traveling with as good old American boys and girls out to serve their country. They're a little bit starstruck by one Anthony Stark, and they're just doing their best.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because they are chilling
That's
out
okay.
with a warmonger.
Yeah.
They're chilling out with a warmonger and a war profiteer.
But you see, that's the danger of having Robert Downey Jr. play your warmonger.
Well,
Because everybody goes,
yeah, but isn't
Robert.
that the point? Isn't the point that he was a charismatic, likable war profiteer?
yes, I suppose it is.
Yeah, and that's the lesson he learns in Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
And you won't see him hanging around with soldiers and slapping them on the back and say, good job invading that foreign country after that fact.
No, he probably won't. He's probably just schmoozing for the time. So yeah, that's fair enough. But yeah, so that's the early days of that, where that funding came in, and then.
So hold on, where are there facts and figures behind this, that the funding for early Marvel movies comes from the American military?
Yeah. So I have them here,
Go
Michael.
on, I'd like to hear
I'm
them.
prepared for this. So I'd like to read you a little bit about the history of Disney's involvement with the U.S. military in the first place.
Okay, but the Marvel movies predate Disney, those early Marvel movies. So if we can get some,
okay.
clarity on that first, and then
Well, I have figures on that as
go
well.
on,
So
go
hang
on,
on.
go on.
Just let me pull up my figures here.
You pull those figures up for us, Ben. Because I'm interested in hearing this because this is news to me. Yes.
Yeah. Let me get the exact figures.
You get
here.
those figures up there for us, Ben. I'll just keep prodding you to get those figures up there.
Oh, this is excellent podcasting.
Some
Michael.
of the best podcasting I've ever seen, Ben. Have you ever seen Ryan George's pitch meeting? It's like that, but if one of the characters wasn't ready.
If one of the characters wasn't ready. Of course, Michael, the wonderful thing about Ryan George's pitch meetings is
they're both actually
he
him.
can edit them.
Yeah.
And it's him.
They're both
twice.
actually him. Yeah, they're both actually him.
Yeah. So here are the figures.
Where are they? Are they coming?
I really hope so.
I'm excited for them, to be honest.
God damn it.
You don't have them.
No, I'm reading through. I do have. Don't you start. Don't you start.
I don't know. I'd like to see or hear these figures.
It's here.
I'm not saying that it's not true, Ben. I would like to hear some.
Well, that's
some
good because
facts.
it is true.
Okay, good. Because I'd like to hear some facts or figures.
I'm trying to get the facts and figures. Will you stop?
Even some box office numbers, Ben, would do me. Just any sort of facts and figures.
Some
at this
box
stage.
office numbers.
What's the population of Guatemala, even, Ben? That would do me. I just want to hear any facts or
You
figures.
just want to hear any kind of statistic or figure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything you have.
Taking a look at this.
Yeah.
Where is it? It's here. Stop it.
I'm not, Ben. I can't be quiet. It's me being quiet while you read is the antithesis of podcasting. I have to keep needling you for the enjoyment of the listeners. Otherwise, we're just going to go. Now, everybody, please be quiet while Ben looks this up. Yes.
First of all.
Yes.
I think you're doing it for your own enjoyment.
Well, yes, I
don't
am.
think
That
this
is
has
also
anything.
that is true.
So here we go.
Yes.
So this
Guatemala.
is the Pentagon Production Assistant Agreements from Iron Man 1 and 2.
Very interesting.
So the Department of Defense
the DoD.
helped to make Iron Man 1 and 2 in two ways. First of all, they provided funding from the slush fund that they keep for just such an occasion. They have a whole docket or they have a whole slush fund designed to allow people to apply to them to have their film made, and if they like the kind of ethos of it, they'll go ahead. The other way in which they helped Iron Man make his films is locations and design.
Right.
So, in order to use the US military bases and things like that you see in Iron Man 1 more than Iron Man 2, and the jet scenes and things like that, and the Humvees and the gear, you actually have to go through the US military.
Do you?
You have to get permission from the US military.
Do the US military own the rights for what planes are they in Iron Man? Are they F-16
I have it
Falcons
here.
or F-15 Eagles? Or are they F-22 Raptors?
Yeah, so it's CGI F-22s.
They're F-22s. Okay.
F-22s. Now, I'm not good at stuff like that. So they had to get express permission, and the Department of Defense gave them the specs they would need to design those well in a CGI.
But what's interesting about that, though, is they're not shown in a positive light. Iron Man runs rings around them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think possibly where the huge component is. Hang on, I have it here.
All right, go on.
Where's it gone?
Yeah.
So
is it more
the
facts and
actual
figures?
document is here. I'm just getting the actual official document agreements are here. Oh no, they're gone.
Oh, they're gone, Ben. They've been pulled out from under you and redacted.
They haven't been redacted, but anyway. So the other huge part of this is a man called Phil Shrub.
Phil's Shrub.
Phil Shrub. S-T-R-U-B. Phil Shrub is the official Department of Defense script doctor.
Oh.
And censor. So anytime Marvel had a draft of the film they wanted to put out,
Right.
they'd have to go through Phil.
Right.
And Phil has final say over what is published and what is not published.
In regards to the military side of things.
In regards to the military. But because the funding was attached, Michael,
Yeah.
he had a lot more say over this particular film, and apparently conflicted quite a bit with Jon Favreau.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
What could and couldn't be done. Yeah, so let's take a look. I'm just going to read this out, Michael.
You read
it's
it out.
Easier for me to do it.
You read it out.
As with all production assistance agreements between filmmakers and the Pentagon, whenever script changes were requested and locked in by contract, and the film went through the usual process of being screened for DoD officials, including Phil Strubb, before it was allowed to be released. However, it isn't all smooth sailing. One line during the scene shot at Edwards Air Force Base did not meet with Strubb's approval, where a military officer said that people would kill themselves for the opportunities that he has. So according to Strubbs, it never got resolved until we were in the middle of filming. Now we're on the flight lines at the Edwards Air Base. There are 200 people and the director and I are having an argument about this. He's getting redder and redder in the face. I'm just getting annoyed. It's pretty awkward when he said angrily, well, how about they'd walk over hot coals? I said, fine. He was so surprised it was that easy. Okay? So there's a lot of debate on what gets said and what doesn't get said. But where Phil Strubb's involvement became even more intense, Michael, is in Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel.
One of the most financially successful but least popular.
Yeah,
Marvel
this is
movies.
really, really interesting. But this is where I have really interesting figures on that, Michael.
Okay, good.
Ready
So already,
Marvel
or
has,
are we going to have to spend?
no, they're ready. They're sitting
Okay,
here
good.
right in front of me.
Good
Okay?
podcasting.
In this particular case, Michael, the F-22s are back in play.
Yeah.
That's what Carol
Danvers.
flies. This is really, really interesting. So, in this one,
Yes.
there was a little bit of debate. There were a couple of jokes about military suicide, apparently in the original Captain Marvel script.
Oh, interesting.
So her kind of goose and Top Gun banter with Maria Rambo's mother is
Maria Rambo, you mean?
It is Maria Rambo. Sorry, Monica Rambo is the daughter. My apologies. With Maria Rambo is very much based in like, oh well, what a way to die for your country. You know what I mean? Flying the big guns and stuff like that.
Ooh.
And that came up against
Hold
Phil
on.
Strubb.
They don't fly F-22s, do they?
Do they not?
No, it's set in the 90s.
Oh, hang on.
Don't
Maybe
they
it has
fly
it here.
F-15s?
Oh, hang on.
I could be wrong, but that's just
You could be right though.
military nitpicking.
Strubb was involved with the production of the movie Transformers. Oh, this is terrible.
Great podcasting.
No, but it is interesting. It is interesting, right, guys? It doesn't actually specify what they flew, but anyway, one of the things to come out of this, Michael, is that they saw a huge increase.
They look like F-15s, Ben. I can only see the cockpit, but it looks like an F-15.
Okay, I'll go with you on this one, Michael.
Oh, there she's rubbing an F-16 there. I think they just mixed and matched whatever they could get, like how there was inexplicably one Harrier jump jet on the helicarrier in Avengers. Because it was left over from filming True Lies.
True Lies. What film?
Sorry, go on.
What film?
Sorry, I'll stop interrupting.
So, Michael, what they saw was a 5-year high in female applicants to the military after Captain Marvel was released.
Go on, get out of here.
So it does actually work in a subtle, strange way. And they've kind of dubbed it the Captain Marvel effect.
Right.
And a lot of the women that were signing up said they liked the look of the camaraderie in the military.
Oh, very interesting.
Isn't it?
The female
Isn't that
camaraderie
interesting?
between high-powered test pilots.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, all right.
Isn't that interesting?
That's very interesting.
Almost like an unrealistic representation of something was used to recruit people into an organization that doesn't really reflect that. Especially if you look at the really, really, really dark statistics for assault and mental abuse that a lot of female soldiers in the United States suffer from.
Sure, look, Ben, I think it's probably male soldiers get it as well, but men have a history of, if you report it, it's because you're a little bitch boy.
That old chestnut.
Yeah. So look, no great fans of the U.S. military on my bent. I'd say get rid of them. Get rid of them altogether.
I'd say you would.
Yeah. No, mucho no me gusta, as they say in non-English speaking countries. Benjamin, I see the point of this, but I think what's more interesting about it is that every film produced in a country is a product of that country's culture.
That's fair.
And yeah, I mean, praising the military is not uniquely American, but it is so American. It is so American. It's not uniquely American. Other countries thank people for their service. What's particularly interesting about it for me is the way that is seeping into other people's cultures. And especially with the kind of global hegemony of the United States, especially in terms of media.
And the old cultural colonialism.
You could, okay, I don't want to use that term, but yes, I see what you're saying.
I do.
But you can see young Irish people raised on these movies are starting to believe things like thanking people for their service. Like,
are they?
Yeah, for sure.
What?
There's certainly, I mean, more and more Irish people are celebrating the 4th of July every year, which is just
what?
Insanity.
That is insanity.
It's absolutely bonkers. But, well, it's not insanity either. It's perfectly understandable when you're raised on a diet of here's all of your favourite heroes and villains and putting aside
the 4th of July.
The 4th of July, the day of our Independence Day. Yeah, but, I mean, when you get an American-produced movie that's going to get money from corporations, so corporations are going to be presented as good. And
they're a grand bunch of lads.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson made a movie
Google,
called The Intern?
Yeah.
It's just a Google ad.
Google's great. So you're going to get corporations are good. You're going to get consumerism is good and owning stuff is good. And you're going to get the military is good. And men and women are equal in every single way.
There's never been an ounce of friction.
And everything is fine. And that's what you're going to get in American movies. If you want an alternative take on it, watch movies produced in other cultures.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, the people who are complaining about this are also complicit in its existence if they're going to see these movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, consuming the culture is rewarding the content, I suppose.
What have you got here saying Marvel, Captain Marvel bootlicker? What does that mean?
Yeah, because it's just a very pro-military Shield or a grand bunch of lads. Isn't Samuel L. Jackson a lovely gent? And arguably not. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a shady government organization that's investigating, aliens and stuff. Like, it's very, the bond of the military is strong and pure. And Monica Rambeau will never leave me because we have a military bond.
But funnily enough, Captain America movies are quite anti-war and quite anti-American Secret Services.
In places.
Go on.
In places. Remember that the villain of...
Yes.
Captain America and the Winter Soldier is not...
The Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
The Captain America and the Winter Soldier. The villain of that is not the giant network of super spydom that is keeping tabs on every single human being. It's the nasty Hydra agents that are using it.
But the nasty Hydra agents made it.
No, but like it's the whole network of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like S.H.I.E.L.D. is on an international level, Michael, a horrific violation of human rights.
Yeah, and the whole point is it's horrible and it has to go. And Captain America
the whole
willing
point
to go against his government to get rid of it.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, Captain America the Winter Soldier is strongly anti-big government.
Yes, no, it's true.
It's strongly anti-monitoring and anti-policing. I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's an interesting one.
It depends on the film.
I'd like to get more people on. Do we know anybody who is in the military? The United States military?
In the United States military, I think we know a few casually. I don't know if we know anyone well enough that I'd be willing to insult them by saying...
No, I don't want to insult them.
Well,
but I'd like to know...
I think we would insult them because I do not like the term "thank you for your service," because a lot of the time that service is invading foreign sovereign nations for American interests, and
with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's how our podcast was taken and just nuked.
Yeah. But it's
man.
It's an interesting topic, and I don't think it is easy to look at the effect of American culture on international people. Because, to be honest, Ben, a storm in a teacup with American Redditors being upset about American movies promoting American exceptionalism, and I don't really care because we're not American.
I don't really care.
As long as the Marvel movies aren't encouraging Irish people, and I don't really have any great national pride towards Ireland either, as you know.
Nope.
But as long as they're not encouraging Irish people to go and join the American military, it doesn't bother me. That's not to say that couldn't and wouldn't happen. I think it probably has. I think more than a few Irish people throughout the years have watched Top Gun or Rambo or Green Berets, look at all those Green Berets, and gone, I'm going to go and join the US Navy SEALs because they're badass.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
I watched a Russian superhero movie on Netflix, Ben, this week.
Right.
And it was very interesting to watch what it was essentially a Russian attempt at a Marvel movie, but devoid of current American cultural and political influences on it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Very interesting. Being a Russian movie, it was very much, Ben, police good.
Oh, what a grand bunch of lads.
The police will come and save us in the end. All we have to do is all abide by the laws and not go in for any of that gross anarchy or corruption, and then we'll all be fine.
You know, lads, it's better when police officers do cover their badge numbers and hide their faces, because, it protects them and their families, because their families are so pure and good.
It didn't go that way, Ben, but you get my point in that it was... Yeah. It's very interesting to watch a similarly high-budget movie, not as high-budget as a Marvel movie, but say as high-budget as a Jamie Foxx has the powers of a gunpowder shrimp. What was that called?
Jesus Christ. Pill Poppers, the movie.
Yeah. How many drugs? Magic Power Drug movie. Or that one, the crap one with the Amell brothers.
Code 5.
Code 8? Code
8.
Code F? I can't remember.
The Amell brothers have a strong bond.
Yeah, except they don't. It's weird. It's interesting to watch an international movie, Ben, and see the same superhero tropes, but without the same social-political tropes.
Oh, what a mess, Michael.
Sure, Ben, look, isn't that why we're into this whole thing? Because it's interesting to talk about and debate.
It is, Michael. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts on stuff like this? Do we have any American listeners? Do you feel that your culture is being...
We do, Ben, yes, we do. Probably not anymore.
Probably not anymore. We didn't mean any offense by it. I mean,
I did.
Look,
I did.
You can just... fuck's sake. But anyway, we're curious to know, do you agree with this opinion that, Marvel might be a little bit propaganda-y? And if so, what are your examples? Or do you think it's a load of old waffle? Do you think it's a load of old waffle? Because either one is possible, ladies and gentlemen. Either one is possible. And we'd love to hear from you.
Well, Ben... I mean, here's my summary on it, Ben. Some of the Marvel movies are about American soldiers, and therefore they have to be. But not all of them are.
Okay.
S.H.I.E.L.D. and Thor were very much presented as a bureaucratic nuisance to Thor.
Nuisance.
And in, say, for example, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Ant-Man is quite anarchistic and anti...
establishment and big companies shouldn't steal money from innocent people.
Yeah.
It's no good.
You're looking at an oeuvre of 30 films and TV series or something like that, so of course there's going to be a very broad political spectrum of it.
It's true.
Anyway.
It's true.
You wrap
But let us
up
know
then.
what you think.
You wrap us
There's
up.
a whole bunch of places that you can get in touch with us. You can find us on the interwebs at www.seomrabeag.com, seomrabeag.com.
It means tiny room in Irish.
You can find us on Instagram at Podcast.
It means sure look, sure listen, but in English.
Very good. You can find us, ladies and gentlemen. You can find us on Twitter at ListenSure. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's really not the engaging, fun, quick and snappy way that you should be getting in touch with us. If you want a more lively debate with us, get up on that Discord, baby.
Get up on it. Imagine
up
it's the
on it.
70s and get up on that Discord, baby.
Baby. Join us in a week's time, ladies and gentlemen, where we'll be taking a look at Flanderization.
Oh, are we?
The point where characters just tip over the edge of the tropes that make them funny and become a parody or a kind of a comic form of their previous selves.
Interesting. What examples have there been?
Well, the number one example, Michael, was Ned Flanders, for whom it's named after. In the original Simpsons cartoons, Ned Flanders is just a mildly annoying goody two-shoes neighbor. And now he's a Christian fundamentalist who's insane. Other examples would probably be things like the old Winchester boys. Michael, I've never seen a more Flanderized thing than good old Dean Winchester. Dean Winchester just became a parody of himself. Castiel became a parody of himself. It happens with all characters, Michael. The longer they stay, the more writers will probably lean into those established kind of character things that people like.
We should probably do a whole episode on it.
We probably should, Michael. So we'll do that in a week.
All righty then. All right, well, I'll look forward
All
to
right,
it.
that's it from us. Ladies and gentlemen, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Watch out for those complexes.